How biopharmaceutical researchers are ensuring COVID-19 vaccines will be safe and effective. As the world continues to feel the impact of COVID-19, the biopharmaceutical industry is working around the clock to identify and develop safe and effective vaccines to prevent infection, while also researching and developing new therapies to treat those infected with the virus. Given the pressing need, along with the volume of information that remains unknown about the disease, a wide range of approaches are being tested to greatly improve the odds that one or more vaccine candidates will be successful. Moderna has completed animal studies the FDA demanded of manufacturers. These studies look for evidence that the vaccine might harm the pregnancy or the developing fetus. The company said it saw no such signals. Pfizer has only interim data from its animal studies, but said it saw no concerning signs either. The Janssen vaccine candidate is a recombinant vector vaccine that uses a human adenovirus to express the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein in cells. The Pfizer vaccine showed efficacy of 95% at preventing symptomatic COVID infection, measured starting from 7 days after the second dose was administered. The vaccine appeared to be more or less equally protective across age groups and racial and ethnic groups. The Moderna vaccine was 94.1% effective at preventing symptomatic COVID-19, measured starting from 14 days after the second dose. The vaccine's efficacy appeared to be slightly lower in people 65 and older. But during a presentation to the Food and Drug Administration's Advisory Committee, the company explained that the numbers could have been influenced by the fact there were few cases in that age group in the trial. The vaccine appeared to be equally effective across different ethnic and racial groups. The Janssen pharmaceutical companies of Johnson & Johnson developed the investigational vaccine, also known as AD.26-CoV-2s, and is leading the clinical trial as regulatory sponsor. Janssen, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, part of the National Institutes of Health, and the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA, part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response, are funding the trial. The Pfizer emergency use authorization is for people aged 16 and older. Moderna's is for people 18 and older, though the company has recently begun testing its vaccine in 12 to 17-year-olds. The most common side effects are injection site pain, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, and joint pain. Some people in the clinical trials have reported fever. Side effects are more common after the second dose. Younger adults, who have more robust immune systems, reported more side effects than older adults. The United States officials stated that the frequency of allergic reactions to Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine is greater than earlier expected. CNN reported. The regulators in the United Kingdom have issued advice and asked people with a history of significant allergic reactions to not take the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine. Both the Moderna and the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines require 2 shots, a priming dose, followed by a booster shot. The interval between Moderna doses is 28 days. For the Pfizer vaccine, it's 21 days. But the Moderna vaccine will be far easier to use than Pfizer's. For starters, Moderna's must be shipped at -4 Fahrenheit. Pfizer's must be shipped and stored at -94 Fahrenheit. The former is the temperature of a regular refrigerator freezer. The latter requires special ultra-cold freezers that need to be topped up with dry ice every 5 days. Doctors' offices do not have ultra-cold freezers. Neighborhood pharmacies don't either. Figuring out how long the protection provided by either of these vaccines will last will take time. It's going to involve periodic blood draws from some volunteers to see what their antibody levels look like. Though a decline in antibody levels doesn't necessarily equate to loss of protection. But a large part of this work will involve watching for reports that people who were immunized are starting to contract COVID in larger numbers. A development that would probably lead to recommendations to give people booster shots at some yet to be determined interval. More than 300,000 Americans have died and 16.5 million have been infected since January 2020. And the US faces an uphill battle to curb the virus. You can imagine how dangerous of COVID-19 virus. On December 11, 2020, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued the first Emergency Use Authorization (EUA) for a vaccine for the prevention of coronavirus disease 2019. COVID-19, caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, in individuals 16 years of age and older. As health workers begin receiving COVID-19 vaccinations across the U.S., many Americans are asking when they will be able to get their shots. At least 70% or 80% of the U.S. population of 330 million have to be vaccinated in order to achieve herd immunity. It also remains to be seen how racial minorities who are at a higher risk of catching the virus and dying from it will be prioritized and what level of trust they will have in the government-issued vaccine. Former U.S. Presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush and Bill Clinton have vowed to be vaccinated on camera in an effort to encourage others to get the jab. President Donald Trump says officials at the White House, which has seen several outbreaks, should receive the vaccine somewhat later, unless specifically necessary. Is Pfizer vaccine safe? Yes. The vaccine protects against a potentially fatal illness, and its only proven side effects are short-term and mild. There are many things you can do, even in the face of this unique crisis, to manage your anxiety and fears. Stay informed, but don't obsessively check the news. It's vital to stay informed, particularly about what's happening in your community, so you can follow advised safety precautions and do your part.